Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gaslighting the Warfighter with myself, Tim Jensen. And we have a great episode for you today. It happens to be 420, and I couldn't think of somebody better to bring on this episode to talk about some of the issues that are happening within the state of Texas, other states across the United States, as well as the plant-based movement that is happening inside the United States right now, today. Here. It's absolutely incredible. So I want to introduce Carlos Duran. He's a plant-based guide and co-founder of Savage Encounter, a men's spiritual retreat in Colombia. With over 12 years of experience working with Yagé, Carlos helps men and veterans heal trauma and reconnect with their inner strength. His journey began after overcoming a troubled past, leading him to study under renowned shaman Taita Juanito. Through Savage Encounter and Operation Purify, he's changed lives with ancestral plant-based medicine. Carlos, brother, welcome to the show, man.
Tim, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're in a bit of a different setting than I'm normally in.
This is dope. This is nice.
This is quite nice. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the new Grunt Style Foundation podcast set, and you're going to be seeing a lot of content coming out of here, and you're going to be the first one, buddy.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Right?
Really, truly.
Here we are on 420. I wish we had a couple of joints with us, but we don't. But nonetheless, it's in the heart.
It's in the heart. That's right.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's get the people that's listening. What is it that you do? Get them to understand the things that you're involved in.
My where I ended up in life is not where I started. It's been a crazy, wild ride. I was born and raised in Union City, New Jersey, which is right on the River Hudson, Section 8 neighborhood, first generation American born. My parents were both immigrants from Cuba. And on this long, crazy, wild, messy ride called life, I went from being raised in an outlaw family, like literally just a very, very simply said. It was just my dad was a crime lord, and that's the environment we grew up in. I never saw myself being in the Amazon for years, studying indigenous cultures and holistic healing through plants. But here we are, and this has been an amazing experience, and I'm honored to share today with the Western world the stories, the culture, and the healing modalities that the Amazon can offer for those of us that are interested.
Yeah. It's it's truly a beautiful culture, beautiful aspect of how they address nature and bring it into their life, into their community, into everything that they do. One of the things that I think I want to share with everybody about you is that you're one of those fantastic storytellers I've ever come across, and we've sat in a couple places together, and listening to you when you're in your natural setting, where you're providing wisdom and great words of inspiration to people that desperately need it, I think is some of the most calming. Man, I don't even know how to even put it in the words. Like that integration event that we shared last September. I sat in that room and watched how you worked everybody in that room into a position of peace, of centering themselves, grounding themselves in the world that they live in, and you did it through storytelling, and you did it in a way that really, like through the medicine, it all connected in the right way. And there's not very people that can do that, right? And I just wanted to recognize that and share that with everybody. Like you're somebody special, man.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. My grandparents would say that everything that you see in me that is special is something that you already have inside of you that is special. And what makes the connection real through the weaving of the stories is because the word is a thread and a needle. And we weave with our word. We weave the reality of our life. We weave the fabric of our relationships. The condition of our day is woven by the first words that we use when we wake up. So words are very important in telling the story of our return, of humanity's return back to nature, back past the illusion of separation and division, and into the truth and totality of oneness. And we realize that we all share this story, as my ancestors would say. We all come from the same vision, returning to the same vision. And the process has been learning in the middle.
Yeah, it's incredible. Tell us about your family's lineage. What makes it, well, in the Western world here in the United States, it is much different. We live in in two paradigms, right? An urban or a rural environment, and that really will set kind of what the future of your life will be looking like towards on the path that you're going to walk. Much different than the Amazon cultures. And I think, plant-based medicine is really starting to expose that in the Western world. We're starting to see it in many different ways. But I'd be very curious to know how you would, frame up the work that your family has been involved in for a long time.
Well, our culture is a millennial culture. So there's 5,000 years of history when it comes to Amazonian plant medicine. And you can have the same plants, the same vine, the same leaf, or very similar. And yet within each region, there's different stories and there's a different history. And there's even different ways of piloting the energy of these medicines. And they're all valid and they're all unique to the region and to the studies of that region. The plant medicine, the question is why now, why here, right? 'Cause you said the plant medicine now coming into the Western world. And the short story is that about 30, 40 years ago, it's said that throughout the Amazon, the medicines themselves began to tell the leaders and the medicine women and the medicine men that they wanted to be exposed. Specifically, Ayahuasca, Yagé, she made a calling to be brought out into the Western world. And my grandparents teach that this happened at this time because of where humanity was at. We faced a dichotomy where on one side there was this gulf of darkness, and this other side there was this massive appetite for light. And so the opportunity is being given through the plant medicines that are now being made available. It's not by coincidence, it's by design, that in this moment in time, humanity can make a decision, a free will decision. Do we return to the memory of our ancestors? Because we all have ancestors, whether you're white, black, yellow, green, there's an ancestral lineage, there's an ancestral memory. And this lineage and this memory is connected to one race, the human race, the race of light, which is us, the spirit beings that walk in flesh. And now at this point, we have an opportunity to return to that ancestral memory, to return to the connection to nature, the connection within ourselves, or to go a separate way where we go further into the division, further into the chaos. And this is reflected across all indigenous or all ancestral teachings. You'll see this across the world wherever there's an ancestral memory, that this time is a very auspicious time. It's an important time where we have the opportunity to return to true love, not some woo-woo shit, but real, like, yo, I am worthy. I'm worthy of being alive. I'm worthy of being loved. I'm worthy of sharing love. And that's what the plant medicines are here to remind us of now and give us that opportunity to return to that love or to go further into the separation.
Yeah, I think that's beautifully put, first and foremost. And, something that we talk about here at the foundation through the Grunt Style main business, through, a lot of our messaging, is we look at the suicides that are happening, across the United States, from the veteran to, the civilian. The numbers are just out of control. And, we can point at all the things that, that are aggregating all of that. But, can it really just be distilled down simply to our, lack of connection to the present earth or just presence in general?
Yeah, my grandparents would say absolutely. Because if you think about it, everything that's important in life is simple. Breathing is not complicated. Eating is not complicated. Making children is really easy.
Right.
It happens in 2 minutes or less. So when we really look at the image or the blueprint that nature gives us for living, it is simple. Okay? You put the seed in the soil, you take care of the soil, the seed grows, it gives you fruit. It doesn't mean that it's without challenge. No, simplicity and challenge are not mutually exclusive. Something can be simple, like a bench press is a simple thing, but the more weight, the more challenging it is.
Right.
Okay. So yes, it is as simple as remembering that we are already connected, that the Creator lives in all of us, and that nature is there as our brother and our sister. It really is that simple, but it is challenging because of all the layers that exist in society that are layered upon us from the time we were born.
Yeah. Yeah. We were, before the show, we were talking about the layers, right? You had mentioned, your son running around and, as a baby, and then, here he is a little older, and now he's layered up with clothing.
Yeah.
That is a human layering aspect, right? There's needs, but are those real needs or are those self-imposed?
Those self-imposed.
Right. It's very fascinating. So with the way that this medicine is working, and in speaking to the shamans in the Amazonian region, saying we want to, be exposed, we want to be more plentiful for people. What do you think is driving that? I find that extraordinarily peculiar because, it seems like within the last 4 years, like the plant-based medicine is exploding across the globe. Is it the medicine? Is it the spirits all coming to moving that and pushing that? Or is it zeitgeist? Is it culture? Is it the woo-woo people that are just, like, oh, wow, this is really great. I can make money off this.
Yeah, I think if you go back you go back 10 years, there's been a bubbling for a while. This isn't, it's not overnight. It really has been a long time coming. And when you're missing something long enough, you don't know what the missing is, but you know something is missing. Mm-hmm. And for a very long time, whatever name you give to the Great Spirit, the Most High, God, Buddha, Allah, Divine Mother, Sacred Father, for a very long time, for many of us, this connection to Source has been missing. Yeah. And many of us don't know what the missing is. But the desire to fill that appetite is very real. And this is where seekers come from. More and more people are seeking, where do I find my God? And they're searching.
Yeah, yeah. There's probably some deep wisdom there in that, we as a culture and as a people have walked away so far from, our spirituality that, we are wandering in the darkness or in the forest looking for something. And, we're filling it with alcohol. We're filling it with all these, demonstrative things that are just, wrecking the soul, wrecking our physical body. And could be as simple as just returning to spirituality and filling, that emptiness that, we feel like we have to solve this idea of like, what is my purpose? And if I don't have purpose, then what do I exist? And if then I can spin myself down a hole, and next thing I know, I'm an alcoholic and shooting up in the alleyway or something. The far worst case scenario. But, is it that simple? Is it really? If we again distill it all down, have we lost focus as a culture, as a humanity? We get caught up in, well, I gotta make my wage today to feed my family, and during all of that, I'm also trying to solve for other problems in my life that are just steering me in multiple different directions.
Yeah,
or is that just word salad?
No, we're far from a word salad, Tim. You're on point. It's like this, and I'm gonna take from the good book. A bird wakes up every day and it doesn't worry about where it's going to get its next seed or its next worm from, and the same thing happens in the jungle. The jaguar wakes up, the mongoose wakes up. They all know they're going to eat that day. They don't know from where, but they know they're going to eat. Mm-hmm. And the sun's going to eventually start to set, and they know they're going to go to sleep somewhere. They don't know where, but they never question it because they know that they're going to be taken care of because they've been taken care of every day of their lives. And they never had a doubt. And those are the animals that we find in nature. What about the human being? When did we start to doubt? Why am I worthy less than a blue jay or a monkey? Why is their God going to take better care of them than of me? And it's that doubt, because that's only a question. But that question creates enough doubt that it separates you from source. It separates you from God. It separates you from the certainty that you're worthy of love, that you're worthy of being taken care of, that you didn't come to this world to toil and grind in a 9-to-5 to produce a check. You came here to have a human experience as a spiritual being. Why did we forget that?
Right.
So I don't know if it's focus, but it's a forgetting that I belong to a creator and the creator belongs to me. And in forgetting that, I forget who I am. And now I'm lost in the ocean of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. I think you're absolutely right. You know, we've if you look back throughout throughout human history, right? It's a tale of walking away from the divine. Right? As we become more technical and reliant upon these devices, we become further away from our true selves, right? And we are creating this image that is not true and is a parody in many ways of real life. And it's a mask that we are able to wear this mask in our real life, but now we have this digital mask that creates a whole new aspect.
Filters,
right, and it's incredible. I think one of if we go back to why is the medicine wanting to come out? Why is the medicine wanting to be shown? It's because the spirits know that we're, in my opinion, that we're walking down a path that is taking us into oblivion, right? And that is not the way.
Yes, sir.
Right? And we are hurting so many things along the way. And this is, I'm certainly not a liberal and talking liberal nonsense or trash along a political stature, but you can't look at what is happening in the world today and around us and the course of human trajectory and not think that that's the direction of what we're heading, right? Now we have AI, right? I love AI, but that shit is evil. Right? What's next, right? Robots working in your home.
Oh yeah.
Now you're going to have a non-human entity that you're going to be working with, and look at some of the videos of there's a guy Kai or whatever his name is. He has a robot in his home, right? He treats this Roman like absolute trash, right? And that is an exposure of what humans are. Right. If you really look at, take that step back, humans have an incredible way of treating things that are not human, like trash, right? And exert that human thing over the top of it and push it down and and destroy it, or we can raise it up and be beautiful. But I think that's the harder path that people are not wanting to take.
We are definitely faced with a challenge in these times. And the core of the values that we want to imprint, that we want to leave written for future generations is happening now. And that's the distinction, is exactly what you said. We're going to make a decision collectively here, whether we're going to expand into the return of remembering that we're one with nature and valuing life, or we're going to go further into the abyss and further into the illusion of separation.
Yeah,
that's what my grandparents teach, and I subscribe to that.
Yeah, and you're doing it. You've built several businesses and several organizations that are bringing people to this healing, right? That is ancestral, between Savage Encounter and Operation Purify. These are two great organizations that are really doing the work. Grunt Style Foundation has partnered with Operation Purify and brought veterans down into the Colombian,
Yes.
the forests.
Yeah.
And one of my dear friends, Will Wisner, was at the receiving end of your medicine.
Yeah,
He
Will was
speaks-
there with us.
He speaks beautifully of it, right? And the things that come out of that. So tell us how you and your lineage and your family is, stepping up to take us back to nature rather than taking us into the oblivion.
Well, one of the things that's important for us is sharing. Just sharing the stories so that the memory can keep weaving into the future, so that the memory of the ancestors keeps living in our hearts. It's a living memory. And we share these stories of how humanity works with nature, of how the Creator uses nature to provide for us everything that we need. Because when you look at nature, everything that the human being needs is already there. And how is that possible? How could every possible need that you were ever going to have, from the desire to need a fiber for clothes, cotton, dyes to color to paint, food to eat, tools, everything can be sourced from nature. Mm-hmm. And that is there for us here and now. And sharing these stories is really important to us because we need to know, no matter what we choose, we need to know that there is a Creator who cared so much about us that all our needs were met before we even knew we had these needs. With this knowledge, what you do with it is up to you. But we need to know this so that the excuse of I was never loved is not there. Your Creator has always loved you and has always given you everything that you need, will always love you, will not give you what you want, but will give you what you need. And if we can know this, for us in our culture, this is the most important. More important than drinking plant medicine is the knowing that there's a Creator who cares for you and who holds all your needs as important. That for us is the most important thing of all, is that connection with Source, with Creator. Then from there is the sharing of the plant medicine. For us is Yagé. And Yagé is the Colombian version of Ayahuasca. Sharing this door, because it's only one door of many spiritual doors that we can walk through to grow, to return, to reconnect with Source, to reconnect with ourselves, to remove the limiting shame of the past, to remove this concept of limiting beliefs, of guilt, right? The plant medicine there is to free you of the weights that don't serve you, that keep you from living in your highest purpose. Sharing about the plant medicines for us is really important because it lets us know, it teaches us that in nature, there are masters, there are teachers. For example, today on 420, the master of cannabis, for us, Santa Maria, the Holy Mother, the Holy Mary. This for us is a very sacred plant that can be used in many different ways, topically, orally. It can be ingested with food. It can be applied as an oil. It can be smoked. There's ritual and there's ceremony for us with cannabis, with Santa Maria. So helping humanity remember that all the plants are sacred and that there's purpose and reason for the plants in our lives, and that there's rituals and ceremonies in how to connect with these plants, to use them the way that they were intended to. That, for us, is a big purpose in the sharing of our culture today.
Yeah. One of the things that I really enjoyed from that integration session last September was the way that you spoke about the relationships with Santa Maria, right? And, they could be very beautiful or they could be destructive, and, based on, however you're using that medicine. I'd love for you to share that wisdom. Like that was I needed to hear that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, brother. So when we look at, when we look at Santa Maria, when we look at cannabis, what we see is a master plant. It has a voice, and anyone that has smoked at least 2 or 3 times, you feel it. There's an energy to this plant. When we look at the plant kingdom, what we see are allies and pillars. Santa Maria is a pillar that you can use in your life to help you grow spiritually, mentally, and physically. It's an ally that you can use for spiritual wisdom. Like every other spiritual tool, there's a way to use it. Right? So it's because we're not taught, so we don't see things. But you can't really use a hammer as a screwdriver, right? And you're not going to use a screwdriver, as a corking gun. So everything we have to understand has a place. When we come to Santa Maria, when we come to cannabis, we should come to her with an open heart as something that we're going to receive into our life. Not just as something, and look, there is no judgment. However you're using it now, that's how you're using it. What I want to share with you is an opportunity, a possibility of evolving your relationship, of reframing your relationship so that you get more from your relationship with cannabis. And if we go down to the most simple way, how do I receive this cannabis, the Santa Maria, when it comes into my home? Is it just in a plastic baggie? Do I throw it in the corner, throw it in the fridge? Or can I see the plant as a part of nature, as a piece of ancestral wisdom that's here to bless my life? So with that perspective, can I give her a special place in my home? Maybe a beautiful box or a place on my altar, some place that says, this is your seat. This is your seat in my home, and I honor you. And when you bring the Santa Maria home, right, other people have been touching it and manipulating it, right? And there is energetic frequencies there and imprints. So you take a little bit of sage or copal and you smudge it, or palo santo, and you just smudge your flower, right? And then you place it in that special place. You can have ceremony with it. You can sing to it. You can invoke the Creator, asking the Creator, whatever your relationship with the plant is, that the plant bring you the wisdom on how to best connect with her. Because we all know this for a fact. I've been smoking since I was 16 years old. And you get to a place where you almost like have to smoke, but you hate being so foggy brained about it. You hate the droopiness, but you need to get high, right? So how do we change that relationship so that I'm only connecting with the plant when it's going to serve me, not when I'm going to be a slave to it? How do I recalibrate? And that comes from when and where I'm using the plant and how I'm using the plant. If we use the plant and we mix it with alcohol, this is mixing two spirits that don't go well together. So this is going to cause friction in your relationship with the plant. If you're always taking the plant and just smoking and zoning out, then it's like a relationship where you don't talk, there's no communication. And this is going to cause you to feel separate from the plant. When the plant gives you ideas and advice, if you don't write them down and take action, then this is wasted wisdom. So if you don't take action, the plant's just not going to give you any more wisdom. And when you begin to mix the plant with other medicines, it'll cause confusion, because it's like having one teacher in one ear and another teacher in another ear talking to you at the same time. So it's really important to begin, if you want, to begin to see the plant as something sacred, as a piece of ancestral wisdom, and to begin to pay attention to how is it that you bring it home? How do you care for it? How do you commune with it? Can you go into nature and smoke a little bit and listen to nature? Be barefoot, walk on the beach, of course, weather permitting. Can you smoke a little bit and listen to music that's uplifting, that's on a 440 love frequency? Where in my life am I using this plant as an escape rather than as a support? And begin to change that. And it's really easy. You ask the plant herself, how can I improve my relationship with you? And this might sound woo-woo and far-fetched, but remember, I come from the jungle. We talk to the rocks. It's the truth.
I believe it. I believe it. I love it. I love every bit of it. And I think what you're saying is so true. Like, weed, cannabis is so accessible today, right? We were joking before the show that we now have to go to the black market to get unpoisoned weed.
That's right.
Imagine that, people. Like, that's incredible. But it's highly accessible these days, and Is the relationship that people have with it a healthy relationship, or are we just swapping one spirit for another that is filling a void, like, and that spirit is alcohol, right? I'm talking about, it's like we're replacing alcohol with something else, and really just, you know, continuing on bad behavior, right? That's what I wonder.
That's a valid question. I am going to defer to my history as a fat boy. I was really overweight for a long time, Tim, you know, and I struggled because of the emotional attachment that I had to food.
Mm-hmm.
And what I decided was that less evil was okay.
Okay.
So if you somewhere between the Oreo cookie and Nature's, or the Nature's one, the plant-based brand, that's a
I wouldn't feed that to my dog.
That's a better choice than the Oreo, right?
Right.
So if you're actually scaling down to reach something, right, that's a good thing, right? If you're drinking and you're gonna swap drinking for smoking, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Are we gonna move forward from there, right? What's the forward plan, right?
Right.
So in that sense, I think it's great. Right? Between drinking and smoking, please, I'd rather you smoke than drink 100 times over. Just on the energetics of the spirits behind the spirit of alcohol and the spirit of Santa Maria, very different energies. And then we have to look at, again, accessibility. There's a way that nature, and we in the West always want to make it better. Mm-hmm. It's not ayahuasca, it's Aya. Right? In 5,000 years, no indigenous person ever said, Aya. No, but here in the West, we make things different, right? And so now we take this flower, this cannabis, that the creator said, hey, you can use this for fibers, you can use this to make oils, you can use this to dry it, and you can smoke it, and now we want to make terpenes with it, or terpines, and we want to make dabs and all kinds of oil, right? And so we took the potato and we processed it into a potato chip, right? We took the sacred cannabis and we've processed it down into these vape pens, and way different, different, and gummies, right? So can we return the whole thing from the beginning of this conversation, from the beginning of humanity's exodus out beyond beyond the pale, has been to remember to return.
Yeah.
So as we return to nature, so can we return to the use of cannabis the way it was intended, as something that is sacred, as something that we hold in ritual and ceremony, and that's all it is, and everything else is the individual's relationship with the plant, which no one can judge, because that's between you, nature, and the creator.
Yeah, that's excellent. With the wide accessibility of cannabis these days, there are also several states in the United States that are looking to, close that door, not allow access, even down to the hemp level. I was saying, well, we're not even going to do hemp rope. Hemp paper? No, out the door. We don't need that. CBD? No. All the things that we're learning, that how CBD is beneficial, from the topical creams to inflammation reduction, all this stuff, right? But I'll use Texas as a great example. You have lawmakers in the state that are trying to ban a complete banning of THC that would remove any access to cannabinoids or cannabinols that have great benefits for some of these ailments that people are using the product for. Are we going the right direction there, or like are we allowing stigmas that exist from a period a long time ago to make the decisions of our of the way forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say what I believe my ancestors would say is that anything that the Creator gave to man, no man has the right to keep from you. Mm-hmm. So if the Creator put cannabis in nature, then it's our inheritance. It's our natural inheritance. No one should be able to keep that from you. And it's curious because I don't know this to be the case, but many times those that would stand on a hill that stands against natural remedies stand for pharmaceutical solutions.
Yeah.
And if you believe the science, as many like to say, then you would look at the fact that pharmaceuticals are far more destructive and create more death than they even come close to solving for life and for cures.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that to be true, right?
Yeah.
I'll use myself as a personal example of that. When I got back from Iraq, I was put on a cocktail of things, right? And that cocktail of things ended up destroying everything about my life. Destroyed my marriage, destroyed my relationship with my children, destroyed, my professional approach to business, destroyed everything. And it was to the point where I was suicidal. I was on trazodone. I drove 99 miles away from my house. Woke up in Portage, Indiana, not knowing how I got there on a typical day after work, coming out of the city of Chicago. And it was that point further that I said I will not have a relationship with these pharmaceuticals any longer. And I began a much different relationship with THC, cannabis at that time, which has got me to where I am today, right? Where I'm free of all those things. I have a much better relationship with it after applying the things that I learned from you last year. And I think that it is a value add to my life in so many ways, because it helps me with my creativity, right? It reduces any inflammation and pain that I'm having in my body. And I have lots, right? I think if anybody served in Iraq and Afghanistan, you are suffering from a lot of different types of inflammation and pain that we've written off as everyday life now. And that's not right. That there's a better way, guys. There's ways to manage pain that we don't have to get addicted to all of these, garbage pills that are out there. And that's not to say that there are people out there that are benefiting from it. Like, I don't want to detract from that, right? But that's a very small community of people, right, in terms of how they're actually hurting everybody else.
Right.
But, I would say that, we have a very unique, we're at a very unique time in our country right now, that we have, the access to psychedelics, we have access to cannabis, we have access to all these plant-based medicines. And then we have access to all these synthetic-based things that, that we're writing like candy out to the American public, right? We've got a whole population of people now addicted to Suboxone. Why? Well, because in 2023, roundabouts, we went from 160,000 doctors being able to prescribe Suboxone to 3 million. And now we're putting opioids into the market to cure opioid addiction. Does that sound right to you?
Only if the profit's there.
The profit. And that is exactly it, right? This company ended up making like $530 million on year one after they opened up all these doctors and being able to write these prescriptions.
Yeah, I don't know if you're listening to this and you know this, but doctors get a commission for writing prescriptions.
Yeah.
I think that if you were to take out the financial incentive to write prescriptions, you would see doctors writing something else. Because they can write, I didn't know this till recently, they can write prescriptions to go to yoga and to take like a breathwork class. Like a prescription is just a solution to deal with a symptom.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to, but there's no yoga studio handing out $100 every time they write you a script.
Right. I don't see anybody writing grants to go to yoga.
No.
But we are writing grants to take people to Colombia, right? And,
yes.
And put veterans through your program.
Yes.
That is something that I am extraordinarily proud about. And, what does a typical event down your way look like? Well, down your way on the Yahweh.
Let's talk about the veterans opportunity. So this year, Operation Purify, for the first time, is opening up to veterans' families and veterans or military families. And the way that begins is you go to operationpurify.com and you just book a call. And you're going to end up talking to Ryan Carey. Ryan Carey is our military liaison. He's a co-founder of Operation Purify. He was part of the Canadian Royal Infantry in Afghanistan. He was part of Operation Medusa, and the guy was also a former Canadian Football League player, like real Captain Canada, just done it all. And he's an amazing human being. So you just book a free call with him and you talk. He's going to understand where you're at, where you're coming from, and he's going to help you understand whether this is a fit for you or not. And then basically we start. We have a 3-week online preparation. We meet once a week online with you and the other 14 veterans that are going to be coming down, or veteran family members. And then we have a 2-week experience in the jungle. We do a lot more than just drink plant medicine. There are 4 Yagé ceremonies, but it's really so much more than that. There's workshops. There are other ceremonies, other rituals. There's time by the fire, time in nature, time in the pool, time to build community and reconnect to a new tribe, and really, really fucking delicious food. Yeah, really good food.
I was unfortunately something had come up, and I was
at the last minute. Tim, that's right. You're gonna come down.
Yeah.
And then when you come home, you're not alone. We have 5 weeks of live integration that we do together online, and then we have a Telegram group where every member of Operation Purify is there, and every once in a while, a little chat storms up, and we share about life.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it's changing lives. We've talked to several people. I personally have talked to several people that have gone through it, and just seeing what they have learned from it, what they had taken away from it, is incredible. Members of our staff have benefited from it. This is, the work that you're doing, the work that
we're doing,
that this medicine is doing is. It's profound, man, and I find myself thinking about this often. That this is the most important work that I have ever done in my life, and to be surrounded with individuals like you, my brother Jalen Garnett from the Lakota up north, and my new friend Justin that is doing some incredible work that I hope that you all will meet soon enough. That's my life. That's the work. That's the work.
The work is the service, brother. And the service is the purpose.
That's right. And I've been fortunate enough to find mine.
Amen.
And I want to say thank you, Carlos, to the everything you're doing. You're changing lives, man.
Brother, we're doing it together, because if I were doing it in a vacuum, but you create the platform, you create resources, you create the bridges. We're all doing this together.
That's right.
It's a tapestry that we're weaving.
That's right. So we got the one thing I want to talk about before we leave. We talked about Operation Purify. I like violence.
Okay.
How much violence is involved in Savage Encounter?
Savage Encounter is a savage experience. This is our men's only retreat, limited to 15 participants. A little different than Operation Purify because we're only in the jungle for 10 days. But the 3 weeks before and the 5 weeks after is the same. We have a brotherhood group. And this is powerful because where does the violence come in? Because there is a violent moment when you're challenged to release the shame of your past as a man. Mm-hmm. When you're challenged to forgive your parents and to love the little boy that's inside of you. That is a very violent time because you're very exposed. And there's a lot of shit from the past that wants to hold you back that you must shake and you must release. And that is not easy. And it's a violent liberation of the soul. I would definitely say that for sure.
Yeah. It's that's another one I got to get involved in. Like just go down and see like what is
happening. It's beautiful. Savage Encounter. It's a return to your inner child to become the greatest man you can be. Yeah. It's beautiful. I fucking love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Carlos, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Brother, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And your wisdom is profound. The work that we are all doing together to, bring these modalities to more people, to bring some peace to more people, to enjoy cannabis the way that we should be enjoying it, right? Have a bit of a spiritual connection with it. If you're living in Texas, make sure that you are aware of the current cannabis legislation that's happening within the state, right? They're going to be limiting and potentially taking it off the shelves for everybody. And this is not just Texas, right? We have helped our friends Charlotte Webb on the federal level. We've helped them in Florida, and we've had some instances in California that we've had to get involved in as well. Right. These are important subjects. These are things that everybody should get involved in. And if we lose these types of modalities, then we're losing access to things that I think are a better way than getting on some big pharma garbage. So, with that being said, man, any last words?
God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos, and thank you for what you do and your incredible staff and team that makes this incredibly memorable for so many people. And we love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will be Gaslighting the Warfighter with my dear friend Carlos Duran, representing Savage Encounter and Operation Purify. You can check them out where?
OperationPurify.com, SavageEncounter.com.
There you go. The .coms, baby. Until next time, you know the drill. Be kind to one another and wash those stinking hands. We'll talk soon.
The Grunt Style Foundation continues fighting for those who have served. Support our mission at gruntstylefoundation.org/donate. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and keep moving forward with purpose.